Hi guys, Tom Hunt here in the kit room. I'm just going to take you through a really quick way of how I tie my drop shot rigs on. So I will do it in a slightly oversized way, so hopefully you can see it properly. But normally on my canal fishing, I do tend to go quite light. I'm tending to be fishing probably about 6 or 7 6-pound fluorocarbon, normally probably about a size 12 hook or so, 1.5-inch bait. If I'm fishing a little bit more kind of gravel pits for perch, I find it a really good method in very, very clear water because there's no weight near the hook. You can offer a really, really slow flutter and you can make it look really natural in that clear water. On canals, I tend to use it when, again, I don't want to move the lure a huge amount. And obviously, if I've got a jig head, which has got all the weight right at the nose of the bait, it's constantly swimming and sometimes they don't want to chase a bait. So being able to shake it or hold it still for a good number of seconds suspended off the bottom is absolutely perfect. But that's why I'd use a drop shot, and here's how to tie it. So I've got, hopefully you guys can see this, I've got a fairly thick line, it's about 15-pound line here. I'm going to take some off and we're going to do it as if the spool goes up to the rod and obviously the end comes down and our weight is going to be on here. So the first thing we want to do with this knot is make sure that the hook is always in the upright position. You don't want to put it on upside down. All right, so have it in the upright position and always make sure that the line is going from top to bottom in the way that you want it to be on the line in the finished rig with this knot. With other knots, I'm not sure, maybe you've got to put it on the other way, but I learned this knot about 3 years ago and I haven't changed since. It's absolutely brilliant. So we go through from top to bottom and then we pull through, obviously, more than enough line that we're going to want to use. So when I'm canal fishing, 6 to 9 inches is normally about right. But like I said, for those clear gravel pits, sometimes I might be fishing 10, 12, 15 foot deep. I really kind of want maybe anything up to about 2 foot. So make sure you've got enough line to come off. But for today, we'll do about a foot or so. So I make sure the hook is in the right position. All right, so I hang it like that. Couple of inches either side, grab the line, and I'm just gonna soften it and put it together. So I've sort of twisted the line once and I hold it up at the top. I then slide the hook up to the top and pinch it with that finger that I'm already there with. Okay, and all I'm gonna do, so if I can explain this properly, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this hook round and through the loop, 3 times. Okay, so I'll hold it like that. It goes through the loop once, through the loop twice, through the loop 3 times, just like that. And then I hold it up. And you know you've done it right when you've got 3 twists on this side and 3 twists on this side, and then you've got your loop hanging down. Now what we're going to do as we tighten this, a little bit of moisture, as with any knot, stops those friction burns, stops the damage. I'm just going to tighten it nice and slowly and you'll see that the loop has flipped up onto the shank there. I hope you guys can see that. Flipped up onto the shank, and the more you pull it, it tightens down, and that is the beauty of this knot, is that you've got the 3 loops, 3 wraps above, 3 wraps below. But actually, so if this is the eye of the hook and the shank comes down, I've got the line and the line, got the eye of the hook, the loop actually tightens down on the shank. And what that means is it keeps it can't slide around, it can't go up or go down. So when I've got it on the line, I've got a perfect 90-degree knot. You can see how that hook sits absolutely perfectly. If you look really closely, you can probably see how the eye, for example, is further over towards this direction because the knot is almost whipping around the shank. All right, so then I've got obviously my 12 inches or so free, take my drop shot. Now one other top tip, I just put a little overhand loop, so I've got a small knot, a small little stop knot just on the end, and all that does when I put my drop shot weight on, these are really, really good because they pinch the line, so you can take them out, adjust it so you can fish really close to the hook, or you can fish a bit further away. They pinch the line really well. I just put that on there as a little bit of extra insurance. If it's really windy, or I'm casting really hard, or there's lots of rocks and I don't really want to lose my weight too much, you generally won't lose your weight. Because they're so slim, they don't tend to get jammed up too much. But if you want to try and keep that kit, certainly from losing it on the cast, if it does slip at any point, all it's going to do is slide down to that little stop knot and it won't come flying straight off the end. All right, so obviously to adjust, I've got probably about 12-14 inches there, and then to adjust it, I just unclip it, pull it up, clip it back in again. All right, and leave that tag on. There's no problem with that whatsoever. And then I'm down to just a few inches. I'll tell you what, let me grab a little soft bait. There we go. I'll just show you a few tips on how to nose hook them as well. So, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. The first way is that you just go straight through the nose. And this is probably what I do most of the time now, because I do really like to have an exposed hook point. All right. Some guys tend to put it in and almost thread it round so the hook sort of comes halfway down like this. I don't know why, I just don't seem to like that so much. I much prefer nose hooking. However, if it is snaggy, or you're fishing close to branches, or yeah, not so much rocks because you're off the bottom anyway. That's one of the beauties of the drop shot. But if you are fishing around branches, here's another really good way. Just come in just under the chin. Do this, just, yeah, 5 to 8 mil under the chin, and then pull it forward. I don't know if you can see that. I've just got the point coming out of the chin now. So put it so that you can just feel the end, but it isn't a fully exposed hook, and that sort of almost makes it weedless. It really kind of, there's no, like, you can pull the lure around as well. So if you're heavy casting, the only slight problem with nose hooking is that you can get it sliding round the hook. You don't get that if you go for the chin hook, because it keeps the hook point in line with the bait. However, when you get that bite, just make sure that you wind down and then slowly lift into it, because it's a bit like fishing a Texas style. You do have to expose the hook first as well. But there you go, guys. A few tips on drop shotting, a few ways to hook, the knot that I use, and yeah, just a few tips on it. So hope you enjoyed it. Any questions or comments, drop them below. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.